Namaste everyone. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Namaste. So we'll start the class. Let me share the screen soon. You can hear me. I can see the lecture 55 slide, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. At the very outset, I have to say it was a tough day for me today. The reason is today is Mahalaya Amāvasā. That is a special day every year. It occurs only once a year. Supposedly this fortnight, about 15 days. Oh, let me see. My internet connection is bad. Hold on a second. Just a second, please. Hello, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Okay, very good. So the thing is, because this fortnight is supposed to be special for all the Pitṛs or the ancestors who are passed away, that is dead forefathers, right? So you have to do certain rituals for them. And today is one of those ritual days, Amavasya ritual. And I was a little late to do many things, could not prepare very well. That's one problem. And the second problem is Īśāvāsyopaniṣad has only one word indication or one verse indication about the concept of surrender. Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gītā, Sarvadharman Parititya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja is one verse, and Tameva Śaraṇāgati Sarvabhavena Bharata is another verse. So the thing is, here and there are small ideas which are extremely powerful or hidden in these places, that is in this Vedanta text, particularly in the Īśāvāsyopaniṣad now, which because we are dealing with it, and also in the Bhagavad Gītā. So to make that the concept of surrender as the main topic, even though we are at the end of the Īśāvāsyopaniṣad, to make that as a major topic is quite hard. As I have already indicated that I have sent some textbooks earlier, some simple English books, and I also forwarded a video of Navalpakam Vasudeva who explains the concept of surrender in a lecture. That's also, it would be very helpful for you to listen if you know Tamil. If you don't know Tamil, unfortunately, that lecture may not work out for you. So there's a lot hidden in this whole concept of surrender, right? So we can do, see, the thing is, when Ilangoji asked me the question about surrender and, what is this, what is this surrender? See, I cannot fit in unless, that concept so easily within Īśāvāsyopaniṣad right away. I have to build the ideology, right? If you don't build the ideology, you are imposing a wrong view on the Īśāvāsyopaniṣad, and that would be major mistake. And any other system of thought like Dvaita, we are now comparing, see, as you remember, Kena Upaniṣad we started and almost, I think we finished the Shankara Bhashya completely. Now, then we picked up the Vishishtaṭvaita Bhashya, but instead of picking up some standard Bhashya, we picked up Sampatanga's view. And then we came back and say, without Īśāvāsyopaniṣad, we cannot learn Kena Upaniṣad. So in this process, what happens is, if we are not truthful to the original Upanishad, then things will go wrong. And that will be a wrong view of Vishtadvaita on top of, superimposed on the words of Īśāvāsyopaniṣad. That would be extremely wrong information to give, right? So I have to make sure the verses of the last two verses are explained properly based on the Upanishad's intent, number one. Number two, at the end, we may be able to go deeper into some aspects of surrender, because there's only one word, Nama Uktim Vidhema, which shows the concept of surrender there. And how do the acharyas make it up as that is an independent means is quite complicated. Definitely, so a lot of homework is necessary. Ilangoji, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I got it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So
I will read the books and then listen to the lecture and then come back to you.
Yeah, come back. It will take some time. Maybe next week we will get more information next week.
Okay.
If I had a lot more time today, I could have summarized and somehow come to the concept of surrender much more efficiently. Today, my mind is not perfectly prepared for this, but we'll go slowly. Okay. Yeah, we'll go.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
Now we'll start. So here we'll come back to the last two verses, and 17 and 18, and we explain the last two verses with a little bit more clarity. And Vedanta Deshika and Sampath have done some work on how, what this means. See, we have to understand that most of the Īśāvāsyopaniṣad is about Upāsanā, meditation, right? Work and meditation, vidya, avidya. Vidya is knowledge. Avidya is work or karma. So how does that lead to the concept of surrender is a complex view, which we have to slowly understand, because it is like saying the concept of Prapatti is supposed to be simpler. If somebody has strong conviction about the whole process, strong conviction about Ishvara or God, strong conviction that he is the power behind everything, strong conviction that the individual is unable to do anything. Simply just to focus one's mind is difficult for the individual. So with this, well, who is the big boss? That is Ishvara. So fall at the feet of Ishvara and say, you help me in every way. I am unable to do even Upāsanā. I am unable to do even meditation. So you stand in place of meditation and then do everything for me. Question comes up. Well, this is simple. He is the power behind everything. So you fall at the highest power and you request sincerely. And that power, because that power is a kind one, kind father, helper, philosopher, guide, friend, so that person will definitely help you. This is a simple concept. But do people have that kind of conviction? And to develop conviction, you have to understand this Upāsanā properly and figure out the nature of this universe and realize an individual's inability to go further. This is a very powerful problem. Slowly we will understand. Now let me explain to you the regular meaning of Upāsanā and how knowledge and work together. Here, okay? Karma and Vidya are dictations of the intellect, which needs the mind's full cooperation to gain its independence. So what intellect does is it tries to get out of matter, okay? But karma is the body itself. Our body actually acts all the time. It's like in a vehicle or to do action. We cannot get out of the body. And our knowledge and intellect can, with focus, meditation, everything, we can go beyond this body, mind, intellect and go further. But it will be drawn back by attachment to this body. So we are now struggling in this universe. So through Vidya, intellect realizes the self's true nature. Through knowledge, self realizes that I am different from matter, I am not matter. What is matter? Matter is my mind and body and intellect. Intellect is also a little bit away from matter. Intellect is connected to Jivatma. So if this is the case, how do we get out? We are stuck. The intellect can have invasions into metaphysical domains, that means into spiritual domains. But it will be pulled back to practical consciousness. And this is a constant struggle. In fact, in the yogic terminology and the yogic science, they say our breathing out and breathing in is actually the struggle. The breathing out represents that. Breathing out means it represents Jivatma consciousness going towards God. But breathing in, the consciousness is brought back into this body. This constant struggle occurs all the time. And that is why, wonderfully, the word Vayu is used. Vayu means it moves. It's like a wind. It moves. So, Kuranarayana, another person, Kuranarayana, who wrote a commentary, explains Vayu as that which moves or thinks in various places according to its predisposition of knowledge and action. Karma and Jnana makes this Jivatma go into different places. So the self's descent into life is by divine intention. That means due to the Leela of the Lord, we are here in the body. So that we can understand knowledge and intellect becomes saturated with knowledge, then we have to go further. That is, to go away from this matter. There are a couple of verses from Śvētāśvētara which gives a lot of support to this kind of view. Ksharam pradhanam amritaksharam haraha kshara Ātmano īśate deva ekaha tasyabhidhyanat yojanat tattvabhavat bhuyaschante vishwamaya nivrittihi. In Śvētāśvētara 1.10. Ksharam pradhanam is, kshara is perishable, that is primordial matter, pradhana. Amrita aksharam haraha. The imperishable, immortal akshara is hara, the supreme self. Kshara Ātmano, amrita aksharam haraha. Here, what do you call, we don't want to go into details of this verse. Think that there is matter and Atma. And these two, Kshara and Atma, matter and Atma are ruled by a Deva Ekaha, by a divine power. And that is the Lord. And that Lord rules both of them. Tasya abhidhyanat, by meditating on that Lord, yojanat, being united with him through yoga, tattva bhavat, realizing the truth, bhuyaschante vishwamaya nivrittihi, ultimately we will be released from this illusion of the Vishwamaya. Here, Maya is not necessary illusion because Maya means prakṛti. We can be released from the clutches of matter. That's what the main idea here. By meditation on that Ishvara. So this has a very similar view, almost like a summary of Īśāvāsyopaniṣad here. If you go further, in the same Upanishad, Śvētāśvētara, Dve akshare brahma pare tvanante, vidya vidye nihite yatra gudhe, ksharam tu avidya, hyamritam tu vidya, vidya vidye ishate yastu sonyaham. This has a similar meaning. I'll explain to you. Here, vidya and avidya are dealt with. Dve akshare, there are two imperishable principles. Akshara means without, it does not perish, unchanging. Brahma pare tvanante, both rest on the infinite supreme Brahman. Vidya avidya, one is knowledge and avidya or ignorance is the other, which is karma. Ksharam tu avidya, perishable is avidya or it can be taken as that which binds you into transmigration of cycle of births and deaths. It can be taken as karma, destiny also. Amritam tu vidya. The immortal is knowledge. Amritam tu vidya. That is, immortal leads to knowledge. Vidya vidye. Vidya vidye ishate. Yastu sahanya. The one beyond, that is Ishvara, rules both knowledge and destiny. So he is responsible for knowledge and destiny or karma. Saha anyaha. He is not bound, he is different. So we see a similar view in another verse of Shvetashvetara. Now, the same thing is repeated here, but with a little bit change, right? God plays a dual role of the Lord of Destiny. So he makes this matter work and evolve in its own way. And he has landed these jivatmas, these individual souls, individual jivatmas in different bodies. And he's also a father helping them. But the body of every one of us, it's going through evolution. We are aging. It is changing constantly. Yesterday we were different. Today we are different. The body is always going through changes. But the change is managed by that Karmādhyakṣa, the Ishvara, who is managing everything inside and outside. So he's also a dear emancipating father and also Lord of Destiny. He has got a dual role. So now we'll see the self is caught in a struggle moving between the law of justice, which binds it to life. So we are definitely experiencing the law of justice. If we do wrong things, we'll get into trouble. If we do the right things, we will get better. And also there is this paternal care from God, which solely helps us towards higher intellectual spheres, so that we spiritually improve. So this is how life works. We are not seeing that Ishvara, but Ishvara is verily helping you every moment. The victory in the struggle is uncertain and prolonged. Why? Bahunam janmanamante jnanavanmam prapadyate. The true knowledge will come only after several janmas. And then that person will surrender to me. Jnanavanmam prapadyate. That is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gītā. Similar ideas are there. So thing is, it is not easy to get perfection of knowledge. It is not easy to break away from the clutches of matter. The struggle goes on. And that is what we are the self, or Vayu. That means we are moving constantly because of all these struggles. This is about work and evolution. Work is a subject to evolution and is guided by God for each individual. That is, our bodies are guided by evolution. And Śvetashvetara Upanishad says he is Karmādhyakṣa. He is the manager of all these activities. He watches. And he also owns and controls the ignorance of self, which is an evolute of that is, avidya is also an evolute of God. And matter's evolutionary bias causes to make us work. And evolution is intentional. That means God knows what is happening. And for every one of us, look at our gunas are different. Each one has different life and different capabilities, different sensitivities. Some people are not even sensitive to anything theistic. They don't even recognize God. So here is an interesting thing. Our work, when we use reason, it becomes emancipative work. If you reason out and take the right path, we slowly disconnect from the clutches of matter, because we are naturally looking for happiness. And if we use our reason, we will become more happy, because we are going to work towards our happiness, right? But on the other hand, instinctive work, if we have any instinctly, by instinct we become angry or we do something or whatever, that is all because of destiny. Because before even you think, you instinctively start working. And you know how many different things come under instinctive acts. While we are working, we constantly store information in our minds. That is chitta. All our activities are stored. Everything is recorded. That's an amazing, constant recorder, recording everything, right? So the self is an intellectual pilgrim while all these things are happening. And he's forced to act instinctively because of destiny. Purva karma, some old karma he has done, that has come in the form of body, which has instincts. And even mental instincts are there. They're all non-controllable. But if you use reason, eventually you can work out some way to get away from matter and go towards spiritual freedom. This is what is intended here. So how does a realization occur? Self realizes that without help, the person cannot get spiritual upliftment or happiness, even control of mind. Everything you need help. So that is the word Anila is telling you that particular aspect of life. Vayu, and next comes Anila, and third comes Amritam. Amritam is pure, Amritam is perfect immortality, immutable. So to get there, it takes a long time. That's what the realization can bring you, that satisfaction and understanding of this immutability only later. But while you are trying to realize, nature takes over. Body will go down. Body is not eternal. It's shiryate iti shariraha. After 40 years old, people slowly degrade in their health and things like that. And the body has to stop someday. And bhasmantam shariram. So the body will be burned to ashes. So how the spiritual upliftment comes? Through reason and intuition. Finally, the prayer comes into, there is a prayer in verse 17 and 18. The prayer is because a person realizes his own or her own inability to escape matter's grip, and divine help is necessary. In fact, the whole idea of the next two verses makes sense only when a person realizes that that person is in trouble and he cannot help himself. That's what leads to surrender. Here, Sampathanga brings, and probably using, I have not seen the commentaries properly. So using one of the commentaries, maybe, he brings in the 9th chapter, 16th verse, where Krishna himself says, Aham kratuho aham yajñaha. He says, I am the yajña. I am all the sacrifices. And the kratu and yajña are slightly different from each other, even though kratu also means yajña or sacrifice. Kratu means Jyotishtoma, and rituals like Jyotishtoma, they are probably more complicated rituals. They are known as Kratu. The Kratu also, in a way, is meditation or Bhakti-yoga. And Yajña refers to the 5 daily duties, the Panchamahayajña, the 5 daily duties one has to do, which includes Deva, Rishi, Pitṛ, Manusya, Bhuta, Yajña. So these yajñas one has to do. The ritual connected to Pitṛ, I told today that it is like Mahalaya Paksha and these kind of tarpanas and all. They are for the Pitṛs. Why do we have to even do the tarpanas to the Pitṛs? Because without the father, mother, you don't have a body to work. All your knowledge, work, your capabilities, everything is because you have a body, which is a powerful machine. And you give thanks to the parents and their parents and their parents and their parents and so on. And that's one of the most important duties. In fact, because it is Mahalaya Paksha, I listened to Rangapriya Swami's one lecture today. He says that in the Mahabharata, it is stated that even pleasing the gods or devatas are one level less important than pleasing the Pitṛs. So any rituals towards Pitṛs are absolutely important. That's what they say. So Manu states, Mahayajñescha yajñescha brahmhiyam kriyate tanuhu. So what does Manu state? By doing all the rituals, why should you do ritual? Your body will become more suitable to understand Brahman and to go towards Brahman. So the body becomes pure, body, mind, both of them will become pure by doing all the rituals. So, and Krishna, he says, I am the ritual. He replaces the ritual. See, ritual is doing something, but Krishna says, I am the ritual. There is a meaning, there is a hidden meaning here. So, Krishna's identification as Katu and Yajña means he embodies this. He itself is this. What does it mean? You can replace all the yajñas, all the sacrifices, all the Jyotishthoma and everything by Krishna himself. So even Kratu also refers to Upāsanā or worship or Upāsanā or even meditation. Bhakti-yoga. Yata kraturasmin loke purusho bhavati tathetah pretya bhavati. This is in Śaraṇāgati Upanishad, I think. So the thing is, the word Kratu here is used instead of Bhakti-yoga. So Krishna can stand in the place of Bhakti-yoga. So how did Bhakti-yoga mabhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato me tattvato jñātva vishate tadanantaram. This is the 18th chapter verse of Bhagavad Gītā. To know Krishna, you need bhakti. Bhakti-yoga. And only then you will know who that Ishvara is, who Krishna is. What Krishna is saying in this verse, Aham Kratu Aham Yajñaha, he says, I am the Bhakti-yoga. So completely surrender to me. I will be your Bhakti-yoga. I will take you there. I am the means and the goal. So that's the idea of this whole that's where we are getting towards, right? See how it goes. So the teachers affirm this by saying, Bhakti-yoga gochare bhagavati tat shabda upacharat rakshakasya bhakti-yoga sthane niveshanam krato iti sambodhanena vivakshitam. This was mentioned by Vedanta Deshika in I think the Rahasya Trayasara somewhere. So kratu means he stands instead of Bhakti Yoga. So one need not do Bhakti Yoga. One need not do all this Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. One can directly, totally surrender to Lord Krishna and still make that happen. And this is also mentioned in Varāha Purāṇa. Some people have a little difficulty locating this particular verse in the Varāha Purāṇa. I wrote it down here. I'll make all the PDFs available someday. I don't have time, but we'll somehow combine all the PDFs and upload them sometime. I will do it. There, sthite manasi susvaste sharire satiyo naraha dhatu samye sthite smarta vishwarupam cha mamajam tamevam ryamanam tu kashta pashana sannivam aham smarami mad bhaktam nayami paramangatim. Here it's a very interesting shloka. And strangely, the shloka relates to the last couple of verses of Īśāvāsyopaniṣad. How does it, the acharyas have worked very hard to figure out the connection, right? But let me tell you, sthite manasi susvaste, when you have a good mind, sharire satiyo naraha, when you are in the body, dhatu samye sthite smarta vishwarupam cha mamajam, once you remember me when you are all in good condition, Tamevam Premanam. When that person, unfortunately, due to old age or whatever the reason may be, is dying, Kashta Pashana Sannibham, like wood, he has become like a stone or something because he cannot move his own body. Aham Smarami Mad Bhaktam Nayami Paramam Gatim. I will remember that person because during the state of death, that person may not be able to remember me. But when he has good health, if he or she, if that person remembers, that means here indication is he relies on God. He completely transfers the responsibility to God at this point. If he does that, that person doesn't have to do much while dying because that person is in such a bad state. I will remember him. Aham smarami mad bhaktam. I will remember my devotee. Nayami paramangatim. I will take her or take him to the ultimate goal, the highest goal. So that is mentioned in the Varāha Purāṇa. Okay. Here the word smarami and nayami are directly mentioned in the last couple of verses. Where is it mentioned? Smarami means Om Krato Smara Kritam Smara Krato Smara Kritam Smara. So look at that. Smara is mentioned there, right? It's actually an invocation to ask that is the Jivatma is asking God to remember what the person did earlier. So I have remembered you earlier. Just remember that I have remembered you. Remember all the acts I have done. So that is a prayer to Lord. And the next verse, it says, Agnenaya Supatha Raye Asman. In that verse, Agnenaya Supatha. Naya means take me, lead. This is related to the Varāha Purāṇa verse. These Puranas are written by great sages, right? So they know where things are in the Upanishads and they write it in a form which is easily understandable than the Upanishads. So this prayer echoes the Varāha Purāṇa, stating God's promise to those who surrender. So verse 17 refers to surrender. 18 is a prayer to be led to God's eternal kingdom, and that we will see what the verse is. There are similar statements in Krishna's Bhagavad Gītā as given in the Varāha Purāṇa. It says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yenamam upayanti te. The thing is, those people who worship continuously, who are totally focused on me continuously, with me as intention, bhajatam pritipurvakam, who worship me with utmost love and affection, devotion. Dadami buddhiyogam tam, I give them the right intellect. And the Buddhi Yoga, that is the spiritual path to come to me. Enamam upayantite, through which they attain me. Those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the yoga of understanding by which they come to me. That's the simple meaning here. The next verse, that is the last verse of the Īśāvāsya, is given here. Agnenaya supatha raye asman vishvani deva vajunani vidvan yuyodhyasmad juhuranameno bhu ishtante nama uktim vidhema. He says that Agnenaya supatha raye asman. O Agni. Here the word Agni means just not fire. Agram nayati iti Agni. Agni directly refers to Lord Ishvara, Īśāvāsyamidam sarvam. That same Lord is Agni, because he takes us further. Agram Nayati means he takes us spiritually higher all the time. Lead us along the good paths to wealth. The wealth is the highest wealth is actually realization of God, right? So lead us to the supatha, the right paths. Asman. All of us. Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvana. O Lord, Deva, O God, You know all the right paths. You know the right ways to get out of this mess. You're brilliant. You're knowledgeable. Vidvan, you know. Yuyodhi asmat. Yuyodhi means cut. Asan, take away, break all this. Juhuranam. Juhuranam means there are sins, crooked sins. The sins are crooked means without our knowledge we get angry. Without our knowledge we are attracted to something which we should not be attracted to. We get hatred, jealousy. All the bad things come without our knowledge. They are crooked. So the sins or papas are crooked. Juhuranam. Ena means papa. Bhuyishtam te namoktim vidhema. These papas are the wrong paths. Take us away into different paths in our lives. We lose so many days, years going after things we should not go after. And we similarly spend so many different lives living in unworthy lives, in different kind of bodies, unable to reach you. So these papas or sin are difficult to deal with. They are crooked. We fall into their prey often. Please help us out. Please, you know how to cut them off. You know how to destroy those sins. We repeatedly of bhuvishtam te namavuktim vidhema. We offer you again and again our namaskar. Here namaskar means surrender. Na mama. That means nothing belongs to me. I am unable to do anything. And that is a form of surrender. And acharyas have broken that Sanskrit down in many texts. So the word deva, vishwani deva means, the word deva means devikridayam and devidyotane. He plays around and he sheds light. This is interpreted as Lord playing hide and seek with us. This playful aspect of divinity is further explored in the Kena Upaniṣad. So this word, remember in the Kena Upaniṣad at the end it says Vidyut, he comes like a lightning. Even that Yaksha who appears in front of Indra and other gods go and try to figure out who this Yaksha is. So God appears as Yaksha. That person goes away immediately like a lightning. So he plays games. So the games and the krida or the lila and the hide and seek, all these are further explained in the Kena Upaniṣad. Look at how he connects with one word deva. He connects Īśāvāsya to the Kena Upaniṣad because there is a lot of things which we have not understood just by Īśāvāsyopaniṣad. So Kena Upaniṣad gives a lot more information about it. Namaha is surrender. Namaha is same as namama. In Sanskrit, if you go into depth, you will figure that out. Not mine. And so nothing is mine. Everything is yours. You are the path for me. You help me in every way. You help me in my mind. Whatever I need. You are the giver of everything. You are nourisher. You help me. That is surrender. So even to have this pure surrender, if somebody has to surrender sincerely, without any confusion, doubts, without any wrong intentions, it takes perfection. So one should have harmony in mind, speech, and action. Rujutva. Whatever you think, act, speak, it should all be the same. This is known as Tricarana Śuddhi. And this true surrender comes out only when a person has this perfection or the Śuddhi or purity in speech, mind, and action. And with such a sincerity, the person realizes dependence on Paramatma, and that is the corporal surrender. And this whole knowledge is known as Sheshatva Jnana, or that being subservient is the nature of myself. It's very hard to get this nature. And the former is Namaha is Śaraṇāgati, seeking refuge or surrender. Realizing this dependence is a prerequisite for surrender. If somebody does not realize that there is no other go for that person will never surrender. So there is a lot of responsibility in surrender. What is that? One person should be forced to a level of knowledge, state of knowledge, that the person has no other go other than Ishvara. So the path of the Upanishad and intuition. The Upanishad guides the student to understand God's all-pervasiveness. It encourages adopting intuition, especially if one still feels capable of reaching life's highest good through their own power. If somebody says, I will do the meditation, I will do Upāsanā, okay, go ahead and do it. Once the student realizes that the God provides the strength for intuition, meditation and everything, because He is the omniscient Pushan Nare Karshe. He is the seer of everything, and He is the nourisher of everything. He is the Lord of the universe, Yama, the controller, the true independent energy behind everything. Surya Prajapatya Kratu, leading into higher intellectual regions, Agni. He is the Agni. So at this point, if somebody realizes that Lord is the power, then the person will not continue to do any meditation or Upāsanā or anything like that. Person gives up everything, falls at the feet of the divine Lord and says, you have to protect. I know you are the power. Even when I meditate, you are the person who is helping my mind to focus. You are nourishing my body, mind and intellect all the time. Instead of going through all those things, I make you as a replacement for all paths and you help me out. That is the idea of surrender. And seek clemency for mistakes we have done. I'm going to make this short, or maybe come back to this later. Here it gives how the structure of the Upanishad, section 1 has this verse, section 2. There are 2 or 3 different, it will summarize the entire Upanishad for you. You can go look through it later on, because it will take a long time to really focus and say, this is what is the essence and things like that. But the bottom line is the Bhagavad Gītā in 18 chapters expands upon the thought and philosophy of this Upanishad. And Kūra says that first 6 chapters of Gita detail the first 8 verses of Īśāvāsya. The second 6 chapters of Gita correspond to the second 8 verses of Īśāvāsya. Here, more precisely, right? According to last 6 chapters of Gita, according to Kūra, it says last 6 chapters of Gita relate to the final 2 verses of Īśāvāsya. But my grandfather says more, even actually slightly correcting or modifying what Kūra says. He says, first 8 chapters of Gita correspond to the first 8 verses of the Upanishads. The second 9 chapters of Gita correspond to the second 8 verses of the Upanishad. The 18th chapter of the Gita provides an extensive exposition of the last 2 verses of the Upanishad. Those interested in a comparative study of Īśāvāsya and Bhagavad Gita can follow the study line suggested, drawing upon Kūra Swami's work and explanations, as well as the commentary of Nigamata Deshika, a key Acharya from Ramanuja. In fact, here he mentions his own analysis of Gita seems to be more precise. He has openly mentioned that. Okay. And so there is a verse from Vedanta Deshika which explains all. In the very introductory verses, he gives the summary of the entire 18 verses. Sarveshanaha means verse 1, Sahaja Mahima is verse 4-5, Sarvabhutantaratma is 6-7, Sarvan Lokan Adipatan is verse 8, Sarva Vidyaika Vedyaha 9-14, Karmādhyakṣa verse 15, Kalusha Shamanaha is 16, 17, 18, remover of impurities. Siddhopāya represents the total sense of the Upanishad. So beautifully Vedanta Deshika has summarized it, and my grandfather has given an idea. Now comes, I'll make this very simple, but we'll go into details later. In simple ways, understanding Lord as Siddhopāya is very important to the Ramanuja school. Siddhopāya means ever-ready escape plan is God. At any moment, He always is there everywhere, and He is always ready to help you. So what does this term mean? It means God is the ever-existing means for salvation. Salvation is defined as everlasting, infinite blissfulness of the self, intellectual emancipation gradually achieved through God's creation. So naturalness serves as a measure of time in systematic materialistic evolution. So the thing is, naturally, it will take forever for one to attain this moksha. And matter and consciousness constantly bind us, and we are using that for all our lives, for whatever we do. So the world is temporal, momentary, and that we know. The Panchabhutas are the five, earth, water, wind, fire, and all. That has not a scientific classification, but it is a religious classification. It is connected to yoga, in fact. So the divine purpose and God's role is, he is Siddhopāya. There is dual evolution, that is divine purpose for the intellectual emancipation of the self. Siddhopāya is the father of the universe, who is like our family, father and mother. And he generally gives everything to everybody, whether it's theist or atheist or anyone. He gives the water, food, and many other things. But only to get his special favors, one has to surrender to him. So the two paths for education is, in the Upanishad, one is self-effort with divine assistance. That means we work but still ask for God for help. Oh, my mind is not working properly, please help me. Can you make it focus so that I can meditate? So all these things, it's a slow process. And that's what is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. That is like the father, I will go study myself, just pay my college fees. Just give me money for the books, I will go study. So he's a benevolent Lord. You ask something, he will get the convenience. You will get the convenience to survive, and that's how we are surviving so far, right? And then you say, oh, well, even meditation and other things. Give me this, give me that. I will meditate on you. I'll find a way for you. I'll first have to figure out what is the right thing, what is the wrong thing. So self-effort and divine assistance can go together. This is the general process of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and all the meditations. The total surrender is a replacement of this long process, which should be pretty much very fast. We fully entrust our education of learning life, learning what is right, wrong, everything, and this whole thing only by just surrender. Then he will become our direct teacher, mother, father, and guides us effortlessly. This requires complete surrender. That surrender is not an easy term. Complete surrender means giving up all our individuality. At every moment, you should know that he is guiding us. There is no other thing. Such a person will never worry. If he is fully convinced, the person will never worry. Body may fall off one day, but the person will know that the person is being led towards God directly from God. So this is the nature of surrender. So first thing we need to realize is God is an unconditionally benevolent Lord. A truth we must first realize. He is a friend, and he is a teacher, Acharya Guru, and then we can surrender to him completely. He will become our ultimate teacher. This is what Ramanujacharya says, Swamitvena, Suhrutvena, Gurutvena cha parigrihya. Narayana should become one's soul's desire to attain his lotus feet. That is, he should help us attain his own lotus feet. He states that by taking refuge in his lotus feet, one should think, I have no other means, not even for 100 million years of kalpa, years of a kalpa. That means even after 100 million years, I myself cannot find a path towards perfection, Narayana, and to attain him. So, name kalpakoti sahasrenapi sadhanam asti iti manvanaha Tasyeva Bhagavato Narayanasya. This is in the Gadyas which written by Ramanujacharya. It's a Gadyas are system related works. The other works, the 9 works means Vedanta Deepa, Vedanta Sangraha, Sri Bhashya, Vedanta Sara, all these things, these are generic analytical works which are Vedanta works. But the 3 Gadyas are religious, personal, ritualistic, personal prayers, and which is more within the system. It is not for outside the system, but it's within the system. And in that work, he has said, I have realized that not in 100 million years can I find my own way to reach Paramatma, because I'm incapable. Tomorrow, what I will become, I don't know. Tomorrow, what kind of mood I will have, whether my mind will work properly, body will work properly, I don't know. So with this view, I take complete refuge in the lotus feet of Sriman Narayana. He will help me, he will guide me. And this is a direct Śaraṇāgati done by Ramanujacharya during a conversation with God in Gadyatraya, one of his works, where he recorded his conversation with Sriman Narayana directly. So he himself says, Tato Dhyana Yogena Drishtvam, after seeing Lord through the Dhyana Yoga. So Ramanujacharya was a realized person, and he directly did Prapatti or Śaraṇāgati to the Lord. And the later Acharyas have realized that can be done through an Acharya, seek an Acharya, and you can also directly surrender to the lotus feet of Sriman Narayana. That is the path which is being practiced by the Sri Vaishnavas. And there is a ritual, sometimes the different types of rituals are there. Those details you can see in different works and other works. So the surrender should not be partial. So partial means you give me this, I'll take care of this. You give me this, I'll take care of this. This is not. This is going to be a very hard process, and so those who are satisfied in finding their own efforts and then still reaching Lord, that is a different path. Through complete surrender, we can ask for a special favor from the Lord, who is our teacher and parent. He will do the rest if you sincerely believe and completely surrender. That's what is mentioned here. Today, I have only prepared this. I summarized and I, in fact, skipped through some aspects so that we can get to some portions of Śaraṇāgati here. The summary here is Īśāvāsya itself has an ardent prayer of Śaraṇāgati or surrender inbuilt in the 18 verses. That's the whole essence of this lecture today. Nothing else. Next week, we will figure out if there are any other questions. If you have any questions now, you can ask me regarding Prapatti, because we have within an hour, probably we have covered a lot, whatever I wanted to cover. So even though I was not very well prepared today, let's see what happens. If you have any questions, I didn't give you any time for anybody to ask questions. Any questions? Completely understood.
Just a thought, that's all. The surrender of a Gnani that is mentioned in the 7th chapter, how different is it from that in the 18th chapter, the one mentioned in the 18th chapter? In this particular this thing, because the last 8 shlokas, according to Sampradaya, is related to the last 9 chapters. But the first the surrender that is mentioned in the 7th chapter actually is related to a Gnani surrender. So but here it looks like towards the end it is a Gnani surrender, right? The one which is it is closely.
I have to tell you, it is a pretty complex question, and I have to think and let you know. So kindly restate your question by text and put it on the Telegram channel, Prasthanatraya channel. I would look at it carefully and answer you next time, because I have to really think about it and answer this question. Okay?
Okay, and that connection between the Īśāvāsyopaniṣad and Kena Upaniṣad is that Deva, right? Devo. That word Devo.
Deva mentioned in the Īśāvāsya will be expanded into much more deeper, different other aspects of Deva and everything come up in the Kena Upaniṣad. We'll deal with it when we go to Kena Upaniṣad. Sampradaya does a lot of connection to different aspects of, not only that, that is only one hook. What Sampradaya says is you need the hooks from Vidya, Avidya, Sambhuti, Asambhuti, and so many other things developed in the Īśāvāsyopaniṣad to understand Kena Upaniṣad. So that's what we're going to explain in the next few classes. And by the way, Ilangoji, with this information, I think you should go study those 3 books and come back with any questions you have. I'm not trying to push you away in any way. I have limited knowledge, and I'm not an expert on all the Rahasya Granthas, because Rahasya Granthas were taught to us when we were young children in my home. When I was playing marbles and other things like that, my grandfather used to teach my cousin, and I used to learn Rahasya Tresara like that. And I also studied Rahasya Tresara once, listening to the lectures of Dr. N.S. Anantarangacharya once, 200 plus lectures. So the just Rahasya Tresara itself is 200 plus lectures, by the way. And so his lectures are one of the best, unbelievable set of lectures. So the concept of surrender, the concept of Śaraṇāgati in the Sri Vaishnava system is very complicated. Simple. Somebody, how do I trust God? How do I get the firm conviction? That whole process itself is so complicated. And that's why so much of explanation is done. And even after he wrote Rahasya Tresara, recently I was talking to Vasudeva Tatacharya Swami. He said there are other, if I had some questions on Prapatti, and he said there are 1,000 other questions answered in the Nikshepa Chintamani, or some work which is not printed properly. Nikshepa Raksha, Nikshepa Chintamani, and something else. 3 works he mentioned. And a great person called Sakshat Swami has written a work after Vedanta Deshika passed away. That is in the last 300, 400, 500 years. So lots of questions our acharyas have answered, which will give conviction in the process of surrender. So that's what the whole thing is about. It is more complicated. It's not, oh, why don't you tell me in 1 day, 15 days, one lecture or something. It doesn't work that way. It has to slowly sink into your mind. You have to start thinking, and your question has to naturally arise. And then you will find more answers. And because none of these, I would have everything in my mind or something like that. I have to again go search for other people. If any question comes up, I have to still prepare an answer for it.
So,
one thing is certain. There are one second, Prashantji. See, the thing is, one thing is certain. There are several other systems of thought who have understood and agreed with the concept of Śaraṇāgati. Even Shankaracharya says, in the 18th chapter, we will come and look at it. The concept of surrender, he agrees with it in some ways. Okay, and there is Ramananda Sampradaya. Ramananda Sampradaya is an offshoot of Ramanuja Sampradaya, right? And there are some other type of sampradayas like that. Even what do you call? If you look at Śaraṇāgati, even Kripalu Maharaj is a very fond. He's very fond of the concept of Śaraṇāgati, and I have listened to a number of Kripalu Maharaj lectures and also Didi Parikiri's lectures, and they go into in depth about the concept of Śaraṇāgati. And in fact, they have wonderful ways to explain them also. But Ramanujacharya had done it long time back, in the 12th century itself. And 13th century, Vedanta Deshika explained a lot more. And the Sri Vaishnava lineage of acharyas have explained so many complex points here and there in different granthas over a period of time. So we are talking about easily a few dozen works hard to understand. But very good teachers, if they explain to us, it'll be simpler to understand.
So I had one point,
Yeah.
not a question. So in S.S. Raghava, Professor S.S. Raghavachar's Ramanuja on the Gita, the book that he has written
Yeah.
about
Mhm.
his interpretation. So in the 18th chapter, he makes a point that this Prapatti or Śaraṇāgati is itself the source of all bhakti. It could act as a source of bhakti.
True.
Uh,
True.
yeah, and he has explained something in detail over there about
Yeah.
surrender.
See, to be honest with you, like Ramanujacharya's explanation of Gita, within the Gita, he says the Prapatti or surrender given there is to only, in the Bhagavad Gita context, it is only for, it is an accessory for perfection in the Upāsanā or Bhakti-yoga. So it is not a replacement for Bhakti-yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, what he explained is a help for, so Prapatti or Śaraṇāgati surrender is to enable, sustain, and complete the process of Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is the main subject of the Bhagavad Gita. So, and Prapatti or Śaraṇāgati becomes a aid, anga of Bhakti Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. But Ramanujacharya rewrites it and says, no, in the Gadyatraya, because it's a personal system, within the system kind of a view. He says the same principle of Śaraṇāgati can be taken as an independent path where you do not require to go through this Bhakti Yoga. You make God as your Bhakti Yoga. That means God replaces Bhakti Yoga. And then so it becomes an independent means to attain Sriman Narayana or Vaikuntha. So that's how we have to understand.
Okay. And S.S. Raghavachar also has written a paper about the bhakti, the role of bhakti in Shankara's Advaita, that way, I believe.
Yes. He has written wonderful, what do you call it? Yes. I think we sent the paper out long time back.
Yes, it is on the channel.
Yeah, Bhakti in Shankara Bhashya or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? If not, we'll end it. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Atma Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nasama Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hope this lecture was useful. Was it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it was good.
Very good.
Yeah,
All right.
it did. Yeah.
Thank you. Please go through any of these textbooks and see if you have any more doubts. We'll address them next time. Or else we'll continue with the Kena Upaniṣad view of Sampath Iyengar next week, because that's where we left off from Kena Upaniṣad to Īśāvāsya. Now we'll have to get back to his view of the Kena Upaniṣad. We'll do that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you.